Can we just go around and share some successful examples of public engagement? Charlotte, do you want to start first?
Yeah, sure. I wanted to highlight an example that particularly used digital media. So I've looked at the Celebrating Dickens project, which was here at the University of Warwick in the Department of English to celebrate the Dickens bicentenary. And what I thought it was a particularly good example of was a use of a range of digital media across a web platform and a mobile app, so integrating blogs, audio podcasts, films, and interactive app. So it really showcases the way in which you can integrate multiple digital platforms effectively. And also the way in which this project engaged a range of partners in the production of material, so not just the expertise of academics, but also authors, undergraduate students, arts partners such as the museums and galleries. So really getting a diversity of perspectives and approaches. And I think that's important in public engagement, that it's not just all the researcher kind of communicating outwards, but it's also thinking about embracing those different perspectives as contributing as well.
Stacy, you want to share your one?
Sure. The example that comes immediately to mind is Dr. Charlotte Rowe, who's a researcher with Brown University here in the States and also has an appointment at the University of Cape Town. And she does HIV research in a kind of a roundabout way, right? So she actually looks at the public health effects and some of the psychological effects of parents who have HIV, what kind of effects that has on children who end up being caretakers, things like that. And she is, and this has been a research project that's been going on for a while now, she's fantastic at engaging the communities that she's working with and helping to design the questionnaires that she uses when she goes out and talks to families, data collection methods beyond questionnaires and surveys, and many other kind of engagements in terms of working with local nonprofits that specifically are designed to help teenagers and tweens, I guess you could call them, in the Cape Town area to help disseminate information about, I guess, interventions that they could take to help with their own bettering their own mental health outcomes. Of course, you don't put it that way to a group of teenagers, but they're really, really great, the Rowe research team, at doing that sort of public engagement with the communities that they're trying to serve.
And so was this digital, or was it mostly analog?
It's actually been a combination of the two. So they've got a really interesting setup with how they use mobile technologies on mobile phones that they could buy at any mobile phone vendor anywhere in South Africa. And they use that for data collection, but then also, from what I understand, some means of engagement after the fact. So a lot of it is analog, a lot of it is offline, but the public engagement activities that she's taken on, some of it is also online.
And you have one you'd like to share.
Okay, well, the example I have is quite a small example, but it's a really interesting example of working with a specific stakeholder group, which rather than a broad public. And one of the projects that I worked with at the Open University was the Floodplain Meadows Partnership. Now that's quite a long-term, long-lasting project, which is all about, as the title suggests, managing the many different varieties of floodplain meadows around the UK. But the particular example that I'm going to tweet the link to was a small part of that project where they looked at the impact that the advice that was coming out from the Floodplain Meadows Partnership was having on the work and practice of the managers of different floodplain meadows. So they worked with quite a small stakeholder community, the managers of the floodplain meadows, and evaluated the impact that the advice that was coming from the main project was having on their practice. So they were able to look at changes in practice and differences that the advice made, which I think was quite an interesting, quite small scale, but quite specific project. But in the that's quite a small one. But in the, I think if you want if you're interested in more general, broader things, then I would suggest going to somewhere like the Wellcome Trust, which has a database of lots and lots of examples of public engagement projects. But as I say, I'm going to tweet the example of the Floodplain Meadows Partnership.
Stephen.
Yeah, so I'm going to cheat a bit with this question and not give a specific example, but send you to a place where there are lots of great examples. So the thing I would recommend you look at is the website of the National Coordinating Centre for Public Engagement. And last year they ran a competition, a national competition. And if you go on their website, and I'll tweet the link in a moment, then you can find videos that tell you about both the finalists in a whole range of categories in that competition and the overall winners and the ultimate overall winner of that national competition. And those videos give you a fantastic insight into what really great public engagement looks like. And I think one of the key things that you take away from that is just how diverse great public engagement is. There's everything there from a project that simulates the atomic interactions through dance, as a project about archaeology and engaging local communities, deprived communities in archaeology projects. There are examples of getting patients with Alzheimer's involved in the research to investigate it and to do things to help their quality of life, and the list goes on. So there's a whole range of things there. And in fact, the NCCP National Coordinating Centre website has a whole host of other case studies of really great examples of public engagement. But I'll tweet the link to the competition, which is a great starting point.
Great. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely, those answers really highlight the range, diversity of projects out there, coordinating with, you know, mass public, specific community, or really a very specific sort of group of stakeholders.